Hello, people. I am here with someone that needs no introduction. Christian Saunders, welcome to this channel.
Hello, thank you so much for inviting me. It's an honor and a pleasure to be here.
The pleasure is all mine. My first question for you is how does it feel to have the level of influence and getting the amazing projects that you are getting right now, like reading the dictionary for hours on end? How does it feel?
It's funny because
Mm-hmm.
I think everybody hates the word influencer, right? Because I think an influencer has become associated with people who actually don't either they don't really influence anybody or they only have influence in kind of negative ways, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
so they can sell beauty products or I don't know, whatever it is that that has become so negative about being an influencer. Um, but I think that yeah, one amazing thing about this modern world is that anybody from their bedroom, who has something to say, they can develop an audience and they can put out messages and contents and maybe some people will listen. And
Mm-hmm.
that's a really great thing, a really powerful thing. And
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know how much influence I have in reality, right? But my objective is to try to help people if I can. But how
Mm-hmm.
does it feel? Look, it doesn't. I spend 99% of my time here at my desk, just like you do, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, or teaching, and I'm not any different to anybody else. Um, so I just feel like the same person I always felt like.
There's something that you say that I really agree. We are all human beings because one of my favorite videos of yours is your interview with Luke.
Luke is amazing. His
Yeah, he is.
podcast is amazing.
He
Yep.
is. He is. What do you
Yeah.
think about teachers like me, like Kati, our friend, who do this high level job to teach people in other countries?
I think in some ways I understand why this prejudice exists.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you don't know anything about if you don't know anything about learning a language, and especially if you don't know anything about the world of, let's say, language learning and teaching,
Mm-hmm.
then of course it's natural. If I'm a student, I think, well, I want the or original article. I want the
Mm-hmm.
authentic thing. I want like somebody who's from London or someone who's from California, so that I can get this real language.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want somebody from Sao Paulo to be teaching me English, because how can he know about English because he's never even been to England, for
Mm-hmm.
example. Um, but I think so I understand why people why they have this feeling.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's why it's so important for us as teachers, and
Mm-hmm.
for anybody who has an audience on social media,
Mm-hmm.
to try to educate people, to help them to understand that um a good teacher is a good teacher
Mm-hmm. 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 Mm-hmm.
and a bad teacher is a bad teacher. And a bad teacher is a bad teacher. And you know your native language or the passport you have doesn't say anything about your teaching ability,
Yeah.
right? And so if your objective is to learn, then you should be choosing a good teacher,
Mm-hmm.
regardless of their passport, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
um but I mean, if you have a different objective, which might be, I don't know, to be friends with a beautiful woman from London, or to have a conversation about surfing with a guy from California. Like that's a different objective. But
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
if you really want to learn a language,
Mm-hmm.
it's just about choosing a good teacher, not about choosing
Mm-hmm.
somebody who was born in a particular place.
So far, which was the greatest moment for you in this career with Canguru English?
You know, because I've had lots of different jobs in my life, lots
Mm-hmm.
of some very kind of, let's say, easy jobs, like mindless jobs,
Mm-hmm.
working in restaurants and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then I've had other really difficult jobs,
Mm-hmm.
more like, let's say, mentally stressful. But I've never had a job where I feel like I still don't really know anything. I've never had a job that is just so complicated and so difficult,
Mm-hmm.
because that's the thing about language, right? There's so much to learn always, and
Mm-hmm.
it's always changing, and we're always discovering new things.
Mm-hmm.
But the kind of the most amazing thing about being a teacher is that you're directly working with people. And even now, like, even now, after like 11 years of being in the classroom,
Mm-hmm.
if I'm with a student and I'm teaching them, like, let's say, present simple, which is something that I've taught hundreds of people, there's that moment when they get it, or that moment when they're excited about it, and I
It's
get the
priceless.
butterflies in my stomach. That's like an amazing feeling. That's not a feeling that I've had with any other
Mm-hmm.
job.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so I think it's really difficult to choose just one moment. I think it's just this constant process of
Mm-hmm.
meeting amazing people,
Mm-hmm.
sharing, people share their stories with me, we and ideas, and people recommend books, and people, we talk about music, and we talk about life, and it's just an amazing process, really, in general.
Yeah, I
I
agree
don't know.
with
Have
you.
you have you have you ever had an amazing moment? Do you have like a number
Many,
one moment?
many amazing moments. I can tell you a story that touched me because I am self employed. Since I started teaching, I worked with so many people, but I own a small school in my town with my wife. We always work with, we try to help people and we give them discounts to study with us, scholarships. And there was a story with one boy. He was 12 years old then, and he told me, because they call us teacher, and he told me, teacher, we had a party this weekend and it was a Monday. I said, yeah, why, what happened? My father bought pizza. I said, oh nice, but what were you celebrating? He said, no, my father bought pizza. The
Wow.
pizza, for them, there was no reason for having that pizza. But that story for me, like, I'm helping someone to learn another language, which is not my native language, which I have to get out of my comfort zone to teach. And then the student comes to me, we had a party because we had pizza. That for me was really strong. I almost cried, to tell you the truth, when he told me that he had a party because they had pizza. So it was one of the biggest moments for me. And one other moment was that, I'm gonna tell you, and please don't be mad. One day, because you're not seeing my disability now, but I know how you defend all the causes. I was waiting for a new student and I was assigned to teach him. And I stood up and I said, let's go, because I walk. It's very hard for me to walk. I don't walk in a normal way, let's say so. I need help, and I told him, let's go to the classroom and I'm gonna teach you. I'm nervous because I'm in front of you. I don't know. And then he said, but you're going to teach me? I said, yes. I'm going to teach you. You're going to teach me this way, walking this way? And I said, yes, sir, I'm going to teach you this way. I was 20 something years old. Now I'm 43. And he told me, okay. But I told him before we started, if you don't like my class, just let me know by the end of the class and we will find another teacher for you. And he said, okay. And by the end of the class, he came to me and said, with his eyes filled with tears, said, I'm sorry. I said, for what? I'm sorry for judging you the wrong way. I said, why? He said, because of your disability, I thought that you weren't able to teach me English the way you were supposed to. And then I said, no, you know what you can do if you come for the next class, because you're going to be a VIP student, as we call in Brazil, personal classes. If you come, I'll be very happy. And 4 years later, I could give him his diploma. This is one other moment that I don't forget. Kati once told me that I have to tell my story. My parents are amazing. My wife is amazing. But if it weren't for my parents or for giving me the tools to be a teacher, or once my father told me, while I have the legs and you have the brains, we go wherever you want to. And I'm here shaking talking to you, in awe to be talking to you.
Well, I mean, it's clear that you're just an amazing person, and your story is so um, inspirational, but I think that the message is really important, right? Because um, uh, students will often judge a teacher by not only where they're born, right, but also
Mm-hmm.
how they look.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and like Teacher Will, who is somebody that I work with sometimes, and you know, he uh sometimes have students that don't want to work with him because he's
Wow.
black, right? And they're worried that they're going to learn some sort of weird, weird type of English, or he doesn't
He's
look
such a great
correct.
person.
Yeah, he doesn't look correct. He doesn't look like the right kind of teacher. But
Mm-hmm.
and what's sad about this is
Mm-hmm.
that Will is an amazing teacher, and the student is the one who will lose
Mm-hmm.
that opportunity, not him.
Mm-hmm.
And like
Mm-hmm.
the same with you. I know from your passion that you're a good teacher, because if anyone ever asks me what does it take to be a good teacher, my answer is
Mm-hmm.
always passion,
Mm-hmm.
because um, the technical knowledge is not enough.
Mm-hmm.
There are teachers out there with lots of technical knowledge who are just terrible in the classroom.
Yeah.
Um, and on the other end, being a nice person and being well organized, and that's not enough either, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
there are teachers who can plan a great class, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't have that passion, right? The passion is everything, and
Yeah.
I see that in you, so I know
I
that you're a great
never
teacher.
I never played the victim card. My parents never, oh, poor one, he's disabled, let's do everything that he wants. No. They taught me the right way. They told me once, we're gonna be your legs while you need to. Then I found my wife, then I got married. She's a teacher too. She teaches English with me. One thing that I always try to do in my life is being respectful. I always remember Aretha Franklin, RESPECT for everybody. And no matter what, I'm talking to you right now. I feel so humbled and so honored to be talking to you. I watch your lives so many times and I try to ask you one question. Hey, I'm here. And then because of Kati, our friend, who's an amazing person as well, I went on the chat box for an interview telling my story. I have a video on my channel that everybody asked me to tell my story, the survival story of Rod, because my name is Rodrigo, but people couldn't say Rodrigo in the proper way. The only legacy that I can leave behind for my kids is that I was a person who was respectful and who worked his whole life. I told you all of this because when I see all the things that you do for people, teaching English with the channel, trying to make people speak the English of the now, like you said, don't think in 4 years. Think about the English of the now. That was amazing. People want to think how they're going to speak English in 4 years. No, but they have to have their English of the now. If they
Yeah.
exchange a do with a don't, a didn't with a doesn't, it doesn't matter, you know? Of course, you have to learn the right way, but you have to communicate.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, what can you say about that a little bit more, please?
No, you know, I mean, the first thing that I think about actually is the pizza story that you just told me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you know, there are different levels of charity.
Mm-hmm.
This was an idea. It was an idea from a Jewish scholar who created this idea of different levels of charity. And
Mm-hmm.
the lowest level of charity is when you give money, uh, or you give your time
Mm-hmm.
because you're kind of forced to, right? You don't really
Mm-hmm.
want to. That's the lowest level of charity.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and the highest level of charity is when you help to make other people independent,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that's basically what a good teacher
Mm-hmm.
does, right?
Mm-hmm.
A good
Mm-hmm.
teacher's objective is that the student will learn outside of the classroom, and then they will learn when they're not with you, right? You're there
Mm-hmm.
to help them, but they do but the majority of their learning when they're not with you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and and that's what you did for that person. That guy with the pizza, you helped him to learn and to now be independent. Um, and that's why it's very upsetting to me
Mm-hmm.
to see the objective of some organizations, some
Mm-hmm.
companies in the language learning industry. Their objective is actually the opposite. They want
Mm-hmm.
students to be dependent on them
Mm-hmm.
so they can make more money, right?
Yeah.
So they want to sell you, you need this system because if you don't have
Mm-hmm.
this system, you're not going to learn.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going to test you on the system using this exam, and
Mm-hmm.
all of this costs money. And in a way, it's all, again, it's related to this idea that
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
the authentic English, the real
Mm-hmm.
English, comes from these
Mm-hmm.
organizations, right?
Yeah.
Real English comes from Cambridge, or
Mm-hmm.
it comes from Pearson, or
Yeah.
whoever these big companies are. When it's just pure marketing, right? And
I
nothing makes me happier
uh-huh.
than when a student says, "I don't need you anymore."
Yeah.
That's it. That's the objective.
Because we can go with them up to a point and then they have to go on their own and find their ways, you know? Do you know why I started learning English? When I was
No,
seven
tell
years
me.
old, when I was 7 years old, I saw Madonna on TV. She
Oh,
was touring with the Virgin Tour, and I saw her singing, and I turned to my father and I said, I want to learn what this lady is saying because she's very beautiful. I was 7 years old, and I started learning English, and it became my career. And if it wasn't because of English, a language that I love so much, I wouldn't be able to be talking to you today. I wouldn't have friends like Bob the Canadian, like Kati, because Mr. Bob is also a really good friend of mine. I started learning Spanish, but I couldn't because I think it's so close to Portuguese. I understand everything that
so it
is
kind of,
so clashing. And
yeah.
when I try to speak Spanish, English comes to my mind first because I learned English before, you know. So I only have to thank you and a lot of people for teaching us the English language. I am really grateful. My father's family never accepted me because I was a disabled kid. They said that I would never be anything, that I would never learn anything. And today I'm talking to Christian Sanders.
I think that you have already achieved, you know, much more than a majority of people who have no disabilities. I think your English is fantastic. I
Thank
mean,
you so much.
it's just a reflection of all of your hard work and your dedication, right? Which is amazing. Um,
Thank you so
yeah, you
much.
should be so proud.
What would you tell my audience in Brazil and around the world why they should learn English, Christian?
Um, I mean, a quite common answer is that you should learn English because it's really practical, right? Like, you can travel and you can get a job and etc. etc. But I think that that's probably not a very good answer. Only because I don't think that um, a big majority of people who learn English, if you think that right now there are maybe 2 billion people learning English on the planet, a tiny percentage of those will actually use English to do anything practical, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think you should learn English for the reason that basically you learned it because you want to, and because there's something that's interesting about it. It could be you just want to know what that person in that song is saying,
Mm-hmm.
or it could be that there's this book you want to read, or it could be just that you are fascinated by the sound of it, or something about the structure, or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
And especially maybe for another reason that you said, right, is because it allows you to have conversations with amazing people,
Yeah.
and to um, maybe it opens more opportunities to be more human.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, so that's why I would say that there was a Greek philosopher. I think it was Epicurus. I'm not sure, but he said, um, before you look for something to drink, you should look for someone to drink with, right? And I think with language it's the same, right? So like before you try to learn English, look for somebody to talk with, right?
But I
So
learned English in the early 80s, where you should write letters and wait 10, 20 days to receive the answer and
wow.
everything else. I was educated on American English. I didn't have the chance to experiment British English, but it doesn't matter. I think that is the right path. I agree with you on everything that you said. And we have an idol in common. He's from Brazil, and I think you like him very much. Mr. Paulo Freire.
Yeah. What was really interesting is that in all of the videos where I talk about him, basically it's 50-50.
Hmm.
People are like, I love him, he's a legend, he's a hero. And the
Hmm.
other half is like, I hate him,
Hmm.
he's destroyed education in
Hmm.
Brazil. So
Hmm. Yeah.
he's clearly a very divisive
Yeah, yeah,
character.
yeah, yeah. It's controversial. Well, people, unfortunately, we're getting to the end because I don't want to take much of his time. And now we're going to play the rapid round game. So, Christian, life for me is
Life for me is the pursuit of happiness.
my wife and my son for me are
My wife and my son for me are um basically everything. Yeah, yeah.
teaching English.
Teaching English is something that defines my life.
Christian Sanders on Christian Sanders.
Oh boy. Uh, I don't know what to say. I,
Go for it.
um,
Go for it.
um, um, I am, I am a very imperfect person, um, trying to find trying to find my my place in the world. I
Awesome.
don't, I don't know.
Awesome.
That was a
Awesome.
weird thing to say.
Awesome. Now you can ask me whatever you wish because you are the guest.
Okay. Um, well, first question, of course, is what is your favorite type of pizza? Important question. Mm.
Cheese. Cheese and
Cheese,
chicken. Cheese and
cheese and
chicken.
chicken.
Yeah.
Ah, nice, nice. Um, and also, I'd like to ask you a question you asked me.
Of course.
Um, so your family for you is,
The foundation of everything.
and what does it mean for you to be a teacher?
Be able to teach someone else to crack a very important code that down the line is gonna be a differential for them to learn something.
What um I'd like to know what language means to you. Not even specifically English, just language.
Respect, education, good heart, help. Help, I need somebody. Help, not just anybody. Help. I know I need someone. Help. And peace, harmony, and the way to future peace and the end of this pandemic, please. This is language for me. Because through conversation, we can come to an agreement. I don't know. This is language for me. Language can move mountains, right?
Um, what is the secret to learning a language?
Persistency, consistency, dedication, and devotion.
Wow. Wow. Really good. I agree. Super important things. Um, and maybe like f finally, what would you say to what would you say to any students out there who who maybe have a really bad relationship with English, right? Because they hated their English class at school and they just, they just hate the subject. What would you say to them?
Find your passion. When I was 7 years old, I fell in love with Madonna. I wanted to learn English because of Madonna. What is your passion right now? Find the subject that you want to talk about and talk about it in English. If you like The Simpsons, learn everything about them in English. Read everything you can in English. You know, if you like learning English from Bob the Canadian, from Christian Sanders, from whoever you like, watch them because they have inspirational stories. I have my interviews because I want to listen to stories. I invited you because I'm a fan and because I wanted to listen to your story. When you told me about your wife and your son, your eyes glow. Instantly, you change. I could see, you know, because a person, in my case, when a person is disabled, I like to talk to someone looking into their eyes. And when you talked about your family, you changed. You were like another person. So that's the passion we have to find to learn a language. So whatever you like, learn it in English. It doesn't matter if it's soccer, football, volleyball, whatever, you know. That's my answer for you. You have to have passion.
Beautiful, amazing, really amazing. Um,
You have to
yeah,
have
and
passion.
that's why, as I said, it's absolutely my honor to be here. So
Thank you so much. And for every guest, I have a sentence, a quote, and a takeaway. And I just want to tell you one thing. Thank you Thank you for your service. Thank you for your videos. Thank you for your funny videos. In whatever you need, know that you have a friend in Brazil, in the forgotten corners of the world. When you come to Brazil, you text me, Rodrigo, I'm going to Brazil, and I'm there to meet you if you want to meet me. Because never in a million years I thought I would be talking to you.
I really hope that I can go to Brazil one day. I've wanted to go to Brazil for a long time. So yeah, when the pandemic is under control, that's something I'd really
It's
like to do.
crazy
So
here. It's crazy
yeah,
here. It's crazy.
yeah, it's very sad. Um,
Yeah.
it's very sad.
Well, thank you so much, guys. I'm lost for words. I don't know what to say. This was Christian Saunders. I think he needs some plugging from Canguru English to Rod, the English teacher. Thank you so much. See you next time. Christian, thank you very much. Bye bye.
Thank you, sir.
See you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hello, it's Rod's friend here, Gino from Real Everyday English. Sorry for interrupting your video. I just want to make a quick recommendation that you subscribe to Rodrigo's channel. He's an amazing guy, he's so humble, he's so dedicated, and he creates absolutely fantastic content. See you people soon. Bye bye, God bless.